Hello. Okay. So again, I'm Famara, and I want to give you a little more information about what really our questionnaires will focus on when we are trying to study Senegambia beach area. So the objective, as I said in the previous video, is that we are trying to estimate the total economic value for the coastline, the Senegambia Gambia beach area, and in that total economic value, this approach or this specific study is going to help us to value only goods and services that are not provided in a marketplace. That is really important to take note. So in other words, what is the maximum willingness for individuals to pay for a coastal protection project to protect Senegambia beach area against coastal erosion and sea level rise? That is our objective here. So we have about 5 different sections here. Section 1 is really to approach individuals with respect. Make sure that you explain the objective of the study, give a little background about the study, and talk about institutions that are partnering in this survey, and then ask whether people are willing to participate voluntarily. And then make sure they are informed that their involvement or participation is of no risk for them, and their information will be kept confidential and will be aggregated with other individuals' information for statistical purposes. If they do agree to participate in the survey, then you go to section 2. In section 2, first of all, even though, because here we will be conducting survey in 2 different sites. We have on the beach and off the beach. So on the beach is people who were found at the beach at the time of the study. And off are people that we are able to find outside of the beach area, maybe around the nearby communities, and both individuals will be asked. So in whatever context we find ourselves, we will give basic information about the area in which we are trying to study. Okay, we will ask people about their visitation to this area and what motivates them to visit this area. And we'll ask questions, if they visit these areas, what are really some activities that they undertake? For example, do they participate in swimming, sea viewing, or bird watching, or hiking, walking, or do they go there for religious or cultural reasons? We need to ask these questions and know whether people to understand what really motivates people to visit these areas. And section 3, we will look at the perception of individuals as it relates to recreational and cultural ecosystem services. How important are these services to people on a scale of 1 to 5? Is it not important at all, or very, very, very important? We'll ask questions about their perception about climate change and knowledge about global climate change, and questions around how they trust and appreciate the work of institutions that are mandated to protect these areas. And then we will also ask questions around environment and biodiversity protection, just to understand what opinions or perceptions people have about those issues. And then in section 4, that is really the scenario section. That is a section that we are trying to value, again, things that we cannot, goods and services that we cannot find a price for in the marketplace. In this case, for example, fish is not included. We're not valuing people going to the beach to buy fish. Okay, we are valuing things like they're going there to picnic, they're going there for sports, they are going there to swim. These are things that we are valuing. Okay, and then we know the current situation of the area in which they go for or participating in these recreational activities. That is the beach itself. We know that it is at a very vulnerable state. We know that some areas are eroded. We know that there were interventions, but again, the vulnerability level and the erosion level are really devastating at the moment. So we have a baseline. We want people to understand the baseline. And this baseline is really informed by studies and expert opinions around how we can improve about the current situation and how we can improve it. So after presenting the baseline, we will provide some visual aid regardless of where we find them. We'll show pictures of degradation, coastal erosion along this area. So this visual aid will help people to understand really this is how it looks like, especially those people that might be found outside of the beach area. And then after showing a couple of pictures, we will go to the scenario, the improvement scenario. From the baseline, now we are saying, to change the baseline situation, suppose a joint project proposal comes from where the National Environment Agency and your area council, and this is asking all Gambians to donate money for protecting the Senegambia beach area. Remember that about 60% of the project fund will come from government and 40% will come from individual donations. And you are not the only one being asked to donate. Everyone will be asked to donate so that people understand that there is no chance for free riding in this, that even if you don't, because these are public goods, that, we can all benefit from. So if people are not being informed that everyone should be willing to or should be asked or would be asked to make a payment, they might be like, I'm not going to make a payment, others will make a payment, and then they can free ride. So we're trying to avoid that issue of free riding in the situation. And then we talk about the specific project that will be implemented and the project benefits and some shortcomings of the project. So this project was based on a vulnerability study that was conducted along this area by Coates and Mane. And other studies also informed the vulnerability of this area. This included studies like Bubujalo's study, Bubujalo and others since 1993. The famous Famara Drame also did another study which has some elements very important for this research. And of course, Hills and Mane also did a study that has informed these scenarios. So having laid out the pros and cons of the project that will be implemented, then we ask the elicitation question that is basically based on the above project details. Would you be willing to make a one-time donation of $50 or $100 or $150 or $200? How do we determine those numbers? Will be based on, when I come to Gambia, a pretest that will be done or conducted to ensure that we are using numbers that are really applicable and make sense. And if people offer zero or say no, they are not making any offer, we will have follow-up questions. Why? Is it because they can't afford it, because this is a cash payment, or is it because they think that the government should be responsible for it? Or is it because they think that the government is not capable of solving the problem, even if they make a payment or a donation? So then we go to section 5. Here we are collecting information on demographic and socioeconomic characteristics. This is just for statistical purpose to be used as covariates in the regression. Here we want to know who really participated in this survey. What is their socioeconomic condition, like their gender, their age, their marital status, do they have kids, their employment status, and political affiliation and stuff like that. These will be variables, independent variables or explanatory variables that will help us to predict these behaviors. And the final section really focuses on attitude towards the scenario and the question or the survey or the project itself. So we want to understand whether people really understood the scenario which they were paying for. Do they strongly agree that the scenario was clear enough, or do they think that it was a little complicated and they could not, understand what the interviewer was talking about? Or do they think that the general public as a whole will support this project? Do they think that asking people for donation is the right approach or mechanism for this kind of projects? Or again, what do they think as a whole of the survey itself and the research project? Do they think it is interesting, or it is boring, it is difficult and time consuming? We need to also conclude to say that they agree that the information they gave represents their willingness or unwillingness to pay, and that it is true and accurate as far as their knowledge is concerned. So that is the end of it. I thank you very much. I don't want this video to be more than 10 minutes. This is what we will be doing in Senegambia. So again, I'm excited about this project, and anyone who will be involved should be really excited, because this is a good work. This data will inform public policy. It will help us as Gambians to understand, how much value that we have for this coastline. Remember that in economics, we know that resources are what scarce, right? And we know that we have unlimited needs and aspirations. So government need to prioritize where to protect and when to protect it. So we can only know that based on what these studies like this have produced or has estimated. So on that note, I will thank you for listening, and you can watch the next video about waste management scenario. Thank you.